What's in the box? Ahoy, comic art nerds. It is Stingray. Welcome you back to the Art Cove after a bit of a hiatus. I know, I've been a slacker lately, and you're probably all wondering, where in the hell is the OAX recap video? And I swear I'm working on it. It's coming. It will be out soon, very soon. Soon, TM. If you're a fan of Blizzard games, you know. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. Now, that'll be out soon, but today I have a large box that says fragile, do not bend on it. And you know what that means. It's New Art Day. First unboxing in a while, first video in a while. This is a really good one. I'm excited for this one, and I'm gonna open this one in just a moment and just get the art out so that we can look at it, and then I wanna talk about the story of how I got this, because I think it's a good tale of the art community working together as a whole, taking care of its own, and just a really great interaction with a dealer that I had not dealt with before. So this is a first time experience for me, and it went really smoothly, and the whole thing I think is just a positive story of how deals can come together within our community, and I want to share that with you. Real quick, after I am done with the unboxing, please stick around to the end of the video. I have a big announcement to make. I'm excited for it, and I hope that all of you will be too. Something that I'm very much looking forward to. So I will talk about that when we're done with the unboxing. So let's go ahead and get this thing open. What's really crazy to me about this piece is that I didn't know that this piece was out into the world until about a week ago. It was brought to my attention by fellow collector James Siegel. He brought it up in a group chat where a bunch of us CAF type folks are there, and he tagged me there and pointed it out to me because this is something that seems like it would go in my collection. And it was newly posted to CAF by somebody whose name I had heard, but I had not encountered them before. I had not dealt with them before, and that is Jim Warden. He is an art dealer, and I've never heard anything but good things about Jim. I just had never had the opportunity to meet him or to buy from him. So, but he had just posted this about a week ago, and it was marked as not for sale. And so, I wasn't really sure what to do with that, but some of the guys in the group chat encouraged me to at least reach out and let him know that it's something that I might be interested in at some point in the future. So that's what I did. I used CAF Mail to reach out to Jim and say, hey, this is a beautiful page, and it's something that I would be interested in if it ever becomes available. Ooh. And that could have been the end of it. It could have been a very simple, Jim could have just ignored me, not wanting to deal with somebody who's trying to buy something that's not for sale. He could have, he might have assumed that I would just badger him and pester him if, he told me no until he gave in. So he could have just ignored me. He could have said, no, it's not for sale. He could have done a number of things. He came back and said that he had not intended to sell it, but after looking through my CAF gallery, he realized that it would be going to the best possible home. So he did decide to sell it. Let me go ahead and get it out of the bag here. And this is the piece. Isn't that great? This is a splash page, a title splash, no less, like you see the title down here, Family Matters, Chapter 3, Pursuit. So this is a title splash. This is from Marvel Comics Presents number 55, which came out in 1988. And this is part 3 of a 4-part Stingray story. Figure the odds, right? This is by Jim Fern. And this is just a really cool splash page. And it's the only unfortunate thing about this one is you can see that there's some yellowing in the upper left hand corner here. There's some, it looks like you can see where some of the letters were glued up there and they came off, and there's a little bit like there's leftover stuff from the back of the letters, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, this is a beautiful page. Lots of great detail with the fish, the bubbles around Stingray, the currents in the water, all of the coral and seaweed and all that. It's a wonderful page. But Jim said that after looking at my CAF gallery, he thought that my collection would be a good home for this, even though he had not intended to sell it. And so from there, he said, he didn't really know what this would be worth, so he asked me to throw out a number. And that's when I went back to the group chat and I enlisted the help of the folks there. And to their credit, man, they jumped into action and started researching this and helping me figure out what number to throw out to Jim. James was the first one to start pulling comps from Heritage to look at other Jim Fern art. Derek, the professor, was pulling other Stingray splashes to look at because, you know, overall there are not that many. And this one is just a really good example. Maybe not the best Stingray splash ever, but there are, what's interesting is there were 4 parts to this story that ran through 4 issues of Marvel Comics Presents. And each one had a splash in it featuring Stingray. And of those 4, this one is probably the best. This one's really nice, really clean looking. I like this image a lot. It's very strong. We factored in that. We factored in what other Jim Fern artwork had sold for. A few numbers were tossed around, some lower, some on the lower end, some on the higher end. We tried to figure out, you know, what would be a good offer. A lot of great suggestions were made. A couple of people said, like, figure out what you think would be a good number, what you feel like you would be willing to pay for that, and maybe tack on a few $100s just to show you really want it. And you know, because if you go low, if you go too low, if you go below what Jim might be thinking, he might just say, no, that's okay, I'll hold on to it. So after some back and forth and some good discussion, I took in all that information and I looked at the page, and honestly, I kind of just went with my gut and I picked a number. And you know, when looking at a page like this, you have to take into account a few factors, right? So number one, it's a title page and it's a splash. So title splashes are great. There are people out there that collect specifically title pages, and to get a nice splash like this that is a title page, I think is really cool. And I think those are both very additive qualities. Those are things that are going to make this page more desirable and add to the value of it. It's a splash of a single character, so it's a good, strong image, which is nice, but it's Stingray, right? And I think outside of myself, that's not going to add much to the value of the page for many people. I don't think that's going to, you know, like skyrocket the price, and I don't think that's going to bring in premium value for this. And then, you know, I think this is a very clean, very nice page. I think that Jim Fern's art on it looks really great. And I don't think, looking at the list of things that he had worked on over the years, this is a great piece, but like, I don't know that he did anything that really is well remembered, I guess is a good way to think of it. And then this particular issue of Marvel Comics Presents, this is from issue 55. There were 3 other stories in this one. There was a Black Widow story, I think. I forget what the Stingray story was the 3rd one. The Black Widow was the 4th. The 2nd story was about a character called Comet Man. No idea who he is. Don't know if he ever showed up again outside of that story. And I can't even remember what the first story in the issue was. It was whatever was on the front cover. What's cool is Stingray's actually on the back cover of this issue. I think he's on the back cover of all 4 issues that have the parts of his story in it, which is pretty sweet. But again, I don't know that there are a lot of people out there clamoring for pages from MCP 55. I didn't think that this was going to be a super expensive page. And after looking it over and thinking about it, I kind of went with the low end of what the gang had come up with. And I offered Jim $12.50. And I waited a little bit and he got back to me and said, well, he had been thinking $1,500. Now, there's more to it, but I'm going to pause there for a moment. He could have easily said, I was thinking $1,500. How do you feel about that? And then I could have gone back and maybe tried to meet him in the middle, or I could have been like, I don't know, you know what I mean? And we could have it could have kept going. But I thought it was really awesome because Jim said, well, you're saying $12.50, I'm thinking 15. Why don't we just meet in the middle and do $13.75? What do you say? And I was like very surprised that he just immediately cut to the chase and said, let's just go right down the center. And I said yes. And then, you know, we had a little bit more back and forth discussing method of payment, but I paid Jim that night. That was Tuesday night. He shipped this out Wednesday morning. It would have gotten delivered yesterday, but the mailman showed up before I got home. Fortunately, Jim asked to have a signature put on this package, so they took it back to the post office since I couldn't sign for it. And I went today and picked it up this morning. So about a week, all told, from the time I first became aware of this piece until I got it into my hands. So that's pretty good turnaround. And I just had a really great experience overall with this piece. You know, the way that the folks in the group chat came together to help me get this piece, to help me, you know, come up with a number, do the research, look at the comps, or try to find comps. You know, there aren't really a lot of good comps for Stingray splash pages out there, you know, but it was an awesome experience all around. So I want to say a big thank you to all of the folks in the group chat. James, Derek the Professor, Alberto, Larry, Carl, Rob, all you guys. I really appreciate the help. I know that I can come to you guys with this kind of stuff if I need to in the future, and you guys will be there to help, and that's awesome. That's what being a part of a community is all about. Also, a giant thank you to gentleman Jim Warden. You made this transaction super easy. I appreciate that you took the time out to, I was a perfect stranger contacting you out of the blue saying, hey, nice page. If you ever decide to sell it, let me know. You could have just ignored that, but you took the time out of your day to look at my calf gallery and try to understand who I was as a collector. And when you saw that I was the Stingray guy, you realized that maybe I was the right person to own this. And I really appreciate you allowing me to add this to this really cool page to my collection. So for that, Jim, a huge thank you. And I look forward to meeting you maybe at Heroes this year if you'll be there. If not, maybe OAX next year, and maybe doing future deals with you. So thanks for that. Yeah, this is a great page. Not one that I had on my radar at all, but super excited to add my second published Stingray page of the year. And this is just such a beautiful splash. Like, it's awesome. So that's it for the unboxing. Now, I promised you guys a big announcement. So here it is. So there's going to be the OAX recap video that should be out soon. And then I'm hoping to have another video out by the end of this month. It might even be the last day of the month, but I want to get another video out by the end of the month. And that video will be the first in a brand new series of interview videos. That's right. I am going to start bringing guests into the Cove so that I can grill them about hot topics. Not the emo store. No, I don't want to say too much about what the interview series is going to be about, but I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know I'm going to enjoy it, and I hope you guys will as well. What I will say for now is that the first interview is booked. I know who the guest is. We have a date and a time set aside to record the interview. After that, some editing, some cleaning up. I will be able to put the video out, and you guys will get to see me interview my first guest ever. And like I said, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think a lot of people that watch my channel probably know my guests, so I think this person is very entertaining, very enjoyable to talk to. I think you guys are all gonna enjoy watching that interview. Look out for that later in the month, toward the end of the month probably. I hope to keep it as an ongoing series. So I already have somebody in mind that I would like to get to do an interview in May, and I have at least one other person beyond that who has said yes, they would like to appear on the show. So we don't have a date or a time set up for that, but if I can line up the next one for May, hopefully that third one will be in June. And then, between now and then I'll start working on the next people after that. Really looking forward to getting this new interview series out into the world. And I think you guys are going to love it. I hope you're going to love it. So yeah, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching. And remember, every day is a great day for Stingray.